You know, while I can't get any drops from raids itself, I can just buy them from the Grand Exchange, which is precisely what I did. I purchased myself the Dragon Hunter Crossbow, which is the brand new crossbow that came into the game with raids. At the moment, I think I bought it for about 57 mil, so still pretty expensive. Obviously not as expensive as it when it first came out, but I want to test it on the KBD. The crossbow requires 65 range to wear, and it increases your accuracy and damage by 10% when fighting dragons. I decided to test out two different setups here. One is with Black D'hide and the other is with Full Elite Void or Range Elite Void, just to see if there was a difference between the two. I sort of figured that Void might be the better option in the end, but I wanted to try two different setups for this to see if there, was a difference. I obviously could have done a couple things better. I could have worn Armadillo in this setup where I put Black D'hide. I could have switched to a regular anti-Dragonfire shield, which doesn't have any negative range bonus. However, DFS, I'm all about the fashionscape, so I'm always going to be rocking the DFS no matter what. In the video, it shows me wearing a Ring of Dueling, but I am actually wearing an Archer's Ring throughout the video. At first, I started using Ruby Bolts with this setup, but I decided to just start over and use Diamond Bolts the entire way through just to stay consistent. The footage you guys will see on screen right now are my 2 fastest kills in each setup, and then at the end, I'm going to go over all my times for my 10 kills, as well as the average time, and just other stats about what happened. Again, I'm not claiming this to be the max setup for, KBD with this new crossbow. It's just what I did, and if you want to follow what I did, go ahead. If you guys want to try it out for yourself and use your own setup, go ahead and do that. But I chose what I wanted to wear, and you can't judge me. Well, you can, but don't. I am so used to not using crossbows anymore, especially since Raids comes out. I feel like Blowpipe is always the meta for everything nowadays, since it's just the DPS is insane, and you're so used to using it for everything. Obviously, with Raids coming out, the Armadillo crossbow has sort of risen in price again, since it's very effective against some of the bosses in there, and mainly people are using hostas now to kill dragons anyway, since it seems to be a bit faster. But with this new crossbow, some cool things happen during this, so I'll just knock them off right off the bat right now. One thing I noticed is that I seem to hit very high, or I didn't hit at all. I'm not sure if it's always like this, but I was hitting 30s and 40s more often than I was hitting 10s and 20s. So in terms of inconsistency, I guess you could say it's a bit inconsistent, but there are streaks where you are hitting constant 30s and 40s, which is very nice and speeds up the kill. At the end of the video, you guys will see my average times that I had for the 10 kills and also each individual time itself, and the times were pretty inconsistent. I'll just say that right now. There were times where I would get constant like sub 1 minute kills, and then there were times where it wouldn't hit at all, and I'd have to wait like a minute 30, a minute 35 to actually finish a kill here. I don't do KBD often enough to know what kind of average hits there are with, let's say, a Rune Crossbow or an Armadillo Crossbow, but with the Dragon Hunter Crossbow, it was pretty much the occasional hit in the 10s or 20s, but more often it was a 0 or it was in the 30s or 40s. So my fastest time with the first setup, which was the Black D'hide setup, was a 42-second kill, which was actually the fastest kill out of all of them, which I was really surprised at. I thought the Void would be the fastest time, but a 42-second kill is pretty quick. Definitely faster than any melee kill I've done, and I guess I just got really lucky. Like I said, was really consistent with the big hits. I was hitting constant 30s and 40s on the kill, so bit of a surprise to me. But yeah, 42 seconds isn't too shabby for a kill at KBD, at least for me. So with the Void setup, my fastest kill was a 47-second kill, which isn't actually that much slower than the 42-second one. I had just 5 seconds, but I'd really love to get a sub 40 here. I'm sure if you get really lucky, it's pretty easy to get a sub 40, maybe even a sub 35 here. I'm just throwing numbers out there that I think seem cool, but people probably have done that before, but for me that just seems fast. Again, I'm just going to throw out there that my setup obviously could have been better. I could have gotten better times, but for the setups I had, these were my average times. So if you follow these, you can expect, I guess, to average out these times, even though it was only 10 kills, which isn't that many kills. But again, I just wanted to test it out and show you guys what kind of times I'd be getting with both of these setups. So the max hit that I got was actually with the Void setup. I hit a 52, which is pretty sick. I don't think I've ever hit that high on KBD before with a spec or with anything. So 52 with the Diamond Bolts with the Void setup. I actually, like I said earlier, I tried out the Ruby Bolts, but they actually ended up annoying me more than helping me. I did hit some in the 40s, but the constant damage I was taking for hitting with them was a bit annoying, so I just decided to stick with the Diamond Bolts the entire way through, which is, since, like I said, it was more consistent and less annoying. So on screen right now, we have the 2 different times that I had for each setup, starting with 10 kills on each one. Fastest time on the left without the Void, like I said, was a 42-second, and the longest was a 1 minute and 39 seconds. There was actually 2 that were really high in the 130s, the 137, which was my 10th kill, and then the 139, which was my 6th kill. And on the right, we have the Void times. The fastest there as I already mentioned, was a 47-second one, and then the longest one on there was a 127. So if we average up all of those times, the average for the void is a 1 minute and 7-second kill, and then the average without the void is a 1 minute and 12-second kill. So the average times do vary. I mean, 5 seconds can save you a lot of time over time, I guess, but nothing groundbreaking. I think both setups would work fine. I may do another test in the future, maybe more kills and try different setups and stuff like that, or just try it somewhere else, maybe not necessarily at KBD, but somewhere else. But I think the Dragon Hunter crossbow, it's a sick weapon. I don't really ever see it staying at that high, though. I think it will probably go down to like, I don't know if it'll go below 10 mil. What do you guys think for the price? Do you guys think it's going to average out at like 10, 11, 12 mil, or is it going to stay really high in like the 20s, 30s mil, depending on how rare it is? I looked at the Grand Exchange price. It's already been traded over 200 times, which obviously people are probably just trading it. There aren't 200 in the game. People are just trading it a lot, but I'm sure there's quite a few in the game. The day of release, I think it was like first one sold for like 250 mil or something, down to 50 at the moment, and it probably will keep dropping, but it will even out at some point, and I'm interested to see what it stays at, since it's a really cool item. In terms of how cosmetically it looks amazing, so shout out to the JMods for that. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed it and you want me to try out another raids item, one that I can afford, there's actually quite a few that are pretty low price now that I could probably afford. But if you want me to try something out at a certain boss or doing something, let me know in the comments. Thank you guys all for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Have a good one, and peace. Oh, and I got KBD heads, which is pretty dope. Why is nobody clapping?
Wow!